Welcome back to another On-Base baseball video. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of On-Base. I'm going to walk through, actually I'm going to try to play this game and bang it out real quick. But this is a game that it came out of some statistical analysis that I was doing for Barry Bonds 2023 season, which I'll be posting a video for that too, walking through how I created. It'll basically show you how I created these. In fact, I reference these teams inside that video, so might be worth checking out. But basically, this is about as accurate in terms of creating a player accurately as I can do. So this game requires 3 D10 dice, and then we have these cards, and you can see each. This is the 2022 Mets. I also have the Braves here. So we're going to play a real game from September 30th, 2022. This was the end of last year. They were both in a pennant race, and the Braves were catching the Mets at the very end of the season. And they wound up sweeping the Mets in this series and sort of vaulting themselves into first place in the division. What we have is there are several different types of outcomes here for each roll. There's a ground out, fly out, line out, strikeout, walk, hit by pitch, and then single, double, triple, and home run. You can see not every player has the ability to hit everything, or to, Pete Alonso just didn't have any triples, so that doesn't figure in. So it's a 1 to 1,000 roll. We add all these numbers together. So, well, we don't add them. We look at them as each of the digits of of 1,000, right? So that would be 246. Let's do this one first, and let's do this one in the middle, and then this one last. We'll just have to choose, which die is going to be the 10th, basically the thousands, the hundreds. The hundreds, the tens, and the ones place. So hundreds, tens, ones. So we'll go orange, dark, and then light purple. So this will be a 642, and for Jeff McNeil, a 642 falls in this K range right here. So 589 to 645 or 675. So that would be a strikeout for him. So that's how the game works. Super simple, but it's trying to prove the point of without any sort of pitcher involvement, with only batter involvement, and only based on the batter's actual statistics, and then translating those statistics into a roll. That's how we got here. And so hopefully this is going to give us an accurate version, the most accurate version of these batters that we could do. Now, obviously, we have some variation because I'm rolling dice. I'm not using a completely randomized computer version or anything like that. So there can be, user manipulation in this. My dice, as far as I know, are not loaded, and they're relatively new. I don't even know if I rolled these 3 dice at all. So we'll do that. So let's roll through this game real fast, and let's see how it turns out. The 2 games that I played previously, the Braves won 3-1, I believe, and 3-2. So we'll see if that holds fast. They've won 2 out of the 3 that I played. So that also is the problem with these. So we're going to go 702. And this is Brandon Nemo up first. 702 is going to be a walk. So Nemo on first. And I don't have any sort of base running or anything like that. Just playing this super simple. This will be a 163, and that's to Pete Alonso. And that's going to be a ground ball. I've been counting all grounders as fielder's choice. So he's going to be out on his way to second base. Next up is Frankie Lindor. And that's a 199. I have Lindor here on the last of the Braves. So 199 is going to be a ground out for Lindor. So another fielder's choice. And I think as long as I'm consistent with the rules between both teams, it should be relatively even. This will be Mark Canna, who's here. So a 562. 562 is going to be a line out, and that's going to be the third out of the inning. So we go to the bottom of the first, and it's going to be Atlanta up. Ronald Acuna Jr. is first. That's a 0.54. That'll be a ground out for Acuna. A 117 to Dansby Swanson is going to be a second ground out. So 2 ground ball outs to start this one. It's Jacob deGrom against Max Fried, so an elite pitching matchup. But again, their statistics, their abilities are not playing into this. This is just sort of these batters' general season statistics are taken into account. So this is a 115 and a 115 to Michael Harris the second. It's going to be another ground out. So 3 ground balls for the Braves, and they're out of the first. In the second, it's going to be McNeil, Escobar, and Alvarez. So let's get the Mets back up here. 341 to McNeil is going to be a fly ball out. For Escobar, a 525 is a line out. So it'll be out number 2. And basically it's a line drive out, not necessarily a line out to the third baseman or something, but it's just a line drive out. And for Alvarez, let's see. Alvarez is here. That's going to be a 373, and for him, that's going to be a ground out. I have every player carded, so even if they didn't play much, they've been given a card. Okay, Braves up in the bottom of the second. Still no score. A 557, that's going to go to Austin Riley. So 557 is going to be a strikeout. First strikeout for Jacob deGrom. Matty Olson up now. That's going to be a 353, and that goes into the line drive out. So he's going to make the second out of the inning. And then Travis d'Arnaud. This will be a 628. 628 is another line drive out. And that's going to be the third out of the inning. So scoreless as we head to the top of the third. We can see everything. It'll be Guillerme, Nito, and back to Nemo. Guillerme is here, so that's a 909. 909 is going to be a single. That's our first hit of the game. So Guillerme at first, with Tomas Nito coming to the plate is here. A 289 is going to be a ground out, so we're going to have a fielder's choice here. It'll be out. So they get the lead runner. 1 down, 1 on for Brandon Nemo. And that is a 407 for Nemo. That'll be a line out. Second out of the inning, runner doesn't advance. And Pete Alonso, this will be a 093, and that's going to be another ground out. For Alonso, another ground ball. Go to the bottom of the third, still scoreless. For Contreras, Rosario, and Arcia. So Contreras here, so a 218 is going to be a ground ball out. 1 down in the third for the Braves. A 45, that is to Rosario. Rosario, that'll be a ground ball for Eddie. So ground ball out, 2 down. Brings up Arcia to the plate. 484 is going to be a fly ball out. And 3 up, 3 down for the Braves. Good pitching matchup in this one so far, as we have no score. And we are into the middle of the order. So Frankie Lindor, Mark Canha, Jeff O'Neill. 267 to Lindor. 267 is going to be a flyout. One down with Mark Canha to the plate. 359 for Mark Canha is a flyout, so a couple of fly ball cans of corn. Jeff McNeil, 820 for Jeff McNeil is going to be a base knock. For the super utility infielder outfielder. And the next up is Escobar. A 37 is going to be a ground ball out. That'll be out number 3 as they strand 1. And we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Still no hits for the Braves. A couple hits for the Mets. And Braves will send the top of the order back to the plate. That was a 0. And for Acuna, that's a 0-0-1, which is going to be a ground ball out. So one down in the bottom of the 4th. A 966 for Dansby Swanson. This could be trouble. 961 to 1,000 as a bomb. And that's going to be a solo home run for Dansby Swanson, who I think had upwards of 30 last year. So the Braves take a 1-0 lead on their first hit of the game. Next up is Michael Harris the second. A 137 is going to be a ground ball out. That'll be out number 2. Austin Riley to the plate. This could be trouble. A 969. And that's going to be 2 home runs in the inning for the Braves as Austin Riley gets a hold of a DeGrom fastball. And 2-0 is our lead. 270. This goes to Matt Olson. 270 is going to be a fly ball. He makes a bid for a 3rd home run, but it comes up short. But the Braves take a 2-0 lead in this one as they touch up DeGrom a little bit in the 4th. And Fried takes a 2-0 lead into the top of the 5th inning. The bottom of the order, Alvarez, Guillorme, and Nito. A 521 for Alvarez. 521 is going to be a fly ball out. So it's out number 1. Guillorme, a 406 will be a ground ball out. He likes to keep it on the ground. And a 311 for Nito. 311 for Nito is going to be another ground ball out. So 3 up, 3 down. Go the Mets in the top of the 5th. As Maxwell Fried comes back with a strong inning. The Braves take a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 5th. This is Travis d'Arnaud, a 327. Again, we're going orange, dark purple, light purple. 327 to d'Arnaud is going to be a fly ball out. He's 0 for 2. Brings up William Contreras. Contreras DHing in this game. A 124 is here. That's going to be a ground ball out. And Eddie Rosario, 759 means that's going to be a line out, a line drive out. So DeGrom comes back strong in the 5th with a 3 up, 3 down inning. And we head to the top of the 6th. Mets down by 2. And they have the top of the order up. So it's Brandon Nimmo. A 619 for Nimmo is going to be a strikeout. Pete Alonso stands in. A 276 will be a fly ball. That's going to stay in the park. And we head to Frankie Lindor. Frankie Lindor, this is going to be an 818. 818 is going to be a base knock for Francisco as he stands at first base. with 2 outs. And Mark Hanna up. That's a 184. 184 is going to be a ground ball out. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. As the Mets get another base runner, but can't bring him around. And we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Braves are up 2-0. 768. This is going to go to Orlando Arcia. And 768 will be a line drive out. So that's going to be out number 1. 583. This goes back to Ronald Acuna. 583 is going to be a strikeout. So 2 down in the inning. And we head to Dansby Swanson, who's already homered in this game. 609 is not going to do it. That's going to be back-to-back Ks for the Braves. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. So a little bit of damage. Back in the 5th, or the 4th. That's really it, though, for both teams. 2-0 as we head to the top of the 7th inning. 1-0-2. This is going to be McNeil, and that's a ground ball out. Eduardo Escobar up. This is a 308. Escobar is here. A 308 is going to be a fly ball out. So 2 quick ones in the inning. And we head to Francisco Alvarez, the DH. A 163 for Alvarez. 163 would be a ground ball out. If I had these cut out as cards, it would be a little bit less cumbersome, maybe. A little bit easier to get through the lineups, but just kind of quick and dirty, leaving them uncut. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning, 2-0 Braves in this one. A 482. This is going to go to Michael Harris. So that's going to be a fly out for Harris. He's 0 for 3 in the game. A 591. That's going to go to Austin Riley. And a 591 is a strikeout. So Riley 1 for 3 now. Home run and a couple of Ks. For Matty Olson, this might be good. So this is an 883. 883 is going to be a base knock for Matt Olson. So he gets on with 2 outs. See if d'Arnaud can drive him in. A 637 for d'Arnaud will be a line drive out. So he gives it a ride, but can't hit safely, and we're going to go to the top of the 8th inning. This game moving along pretty quickly. 2-0 is our score. And again, we're just playing off of the batter cards here. No outside interference from defense or pitchers or anything. This will be Guillorme, Nito, and then Nemo. So a 112 to Guillorme is going to be a ground out. A 783 to Tomas Nito is a strikeout. And back to the top of the order, a 965. This might be good. That's going to be a triple for Brandon Nemo as he winds up with third with 2 outs. And brings up the polar bear, Pete Alonso, 483. 483 is going to be a strikeout. So he can't come through in the clutch there. And that's going to be the 3rd out of the inning. We're going to head to the bottom of the 8th. Braves are up 2-0. And they'll have the bottom of the order up. Contreras, Rosario, and Arcia. Contreras is here. So a 982, that's going to be Contreras getting a hold of one. And he sends it over the wall and right. And that's going to be a home run for the Braves. It's going to bring up Rosario and Arcia. And is this back-to-back? 998. It is. And back-to-back shots for the Braves, as this one is starting to get out of hand for the Mets. The lead is now 4-0, and it's going to be Orlando Arcia to the plate. 635. 635 is here. That's going to be a fly ball out. Try to make it 3 in a row. came up short, and it's going to be Ronald Acuna now. A 0-18, so 0-1-8 will be a ground ball out. That's out number 2. And last chance for the Braves in the 8th is Dansby Swanson. That's a 4-15. 4-15 to Swanson will be a strikeout. But the Mets do give up 2 in the bottom of the 8th, and they are down 4-0. Again, they've lost. They're in danger of being swept by the Braves, just like in real life. And let's get everything on the page here. For the Mets, it's going to be in the middle of the order: Frankie Lindor, Mark Canha, and Jeff McNeil. A 169. 169 is a ground ball out. Mark Canha up, 525. That will be a line drive out for him. He's 0 for 4. That's really been the story for this series, is everyone from about here down has not performed well, to say the least. Last hope is Jeff McNeil, a 301. A 301 is going to be a fly ball and a can of corn, and that's a 3-3 down 9th inning. As the Braves take this one 4-0. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Only 4 hits for the Mets. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 hits for the Braves, but they were very efficient, as they have 4 home runs, 4 solo home runs, accounting for their 4 runs. So this is the game, and again, this is just from statistical analysis of each player's numbers from the season 2022, and then converting those percentages into dice rolls, which this is exactly what I did with quick pitch baseball, except with quick pitch I was running everything just like this is running everything off of the batter card. Everything in quick pitch was running off the pitcher card. So a little bit of a flip-flop here with what I was doing with quick pitch. And then I originally started it as a 50-50 game. So you roll a 1 to 3. Basically you would have, an extra D6 dice, and then a 1 to 3 would come off, let's say, the pitcher card, and a 4 to 6 would come off the batter card. So that would tell you which card to come off of, and then this would tell you how to read the results. So that's sort of how I originally planned it, but as I got into it, I realized some things about pitchers and pitching and how they affect the game, and decided to sort of experiment in another direction. So this might represent just sort of going back to that original 50-50 idea, to make the batter card its own little universe, and to make the pitcher card its own little universe, and we'll see how that comes out in the end. And then obviously fielding will have to be its own little contained universe, and base running will have to be its own kind of little contained universe too. But I can see lots of different options here. So we have 1,000 results every time we roll. So for a ground out, we could re-roll and have 1,000 possibilities for a ground out. So basically anything that could happen on a ground out could actually happen. And for a 1 out of 1,000 chance, that's a 0.001. There are lots of things in baseball that happen 1 out of every 1,000 times, so it hits the base and goes over the third baseman's head. So there's all kinds of things that only happen, maybe a few times every season, that you could actually include in that list. So it's not like a rare play. It would just be a plays chart. And then, there would be obviously common plays, how many ground ball outs wind up in the third baseman's glove and he makes the play as a routine play, probably, the vast majority of them. But then there are some that are going to get under his glove, some that are going to lead to an error. There's lots of different ways that you could sort of do 1,000 rolls. And then you would have 1,000 for each of these different types. So I don't think 1,000 things can happen with a strikeout, but maybe there are 10 or 15 things that could happen with a strikeout. And based off of what you rolled, you would have a better or worse percentage to be able to get into those things. But it would make all kinds of baseball plays possible in one roll and then one extra roll. So we'll see how that plays out. And then base running would just be its own, like maybe a third roll, an extra roll, which with 1,000 options on base running, again, there's lots of ways that you can go with that. So using the 3D10s and having 1,000 different possibilities really makes everything really granular in baseball. And that's why choosing these is probably, it's the easiest to sort of roll. You could obviously do 4, but I think at 4 you start to have a hard time reading the numbers because we don't typically read thousands numbers. So I think with hundreds, it brings in enough results, but also the simplicity of only 3 dice, and also the simplicity of being able to just read the numbers more quickly. I think that we process the 3 better than we do the 4. And then obviously you have a decide or die there. So this is sort of where I was heading, and it kind of came out of some statistical analysis. So 4-0, I think the Braves scored 10 runs. So I think 10 to like 3 maybe was the run differential in this one. I would have to go back and check and see what the actual run differential was for these teams. But I feel like people are mostly playing out, you know, how they would in real life. Nimmo and Alonso, Lindor, and McNeil all performed well in this series. Everybody else performed terribly, which was kind of their team. So they really missed Starling Marte, who was here, obviously, on their starters page, but at the end of the year, he was not playing. He was hurt. So they really missed him in the lineup to be able to solidify the top 5 spots. And it really hurt them because they were having to put Mark Canha, Escobar. They were going to put some guys up there that weren't necessarily top 4 or 5 hitters. So the Braves obviously come up with, you know, several all-stars in their first 6 spots. So a little bit of a different story with the Braves lineup. So hopefully you enjoyed this. The game moves very quickly because there's no checks for anything. It's just purely off of here. One roll, find a result, move on. But there's obviously a lot more that can be added to the game to bring a little bit more realism, a little bit more back and forth between the offense and the defense. And then obviously where those two things meet in the field and where they meet on the base paths, there's a lot of wild cards there for how to handle those situations and things. So we'll see how this fleshes out. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments section below. If you haven't subscribed, click subscribe. And again, this channel will be changing over to the Clark and Addison Gaming Company, which will be sort of my umbrella organization to house all of my games, my thoughts, the YouTube channel. There'll be a Facebook page or a Facebook group, and then there will also be a website that's going to sort of encompass all of my games and everything that I'm working on. So hopefully that will be out very soon. Got a new football game coming out soon, No Huddle Football. So that should be finished. I'm just working on the game guide and getting kind of the last little bits finished for that. And it should be out and ready to play very soon as well. It'll be the 2022 season first, and then I'm hoping to do a classic season pretty quickly out of that, maybe from the 70s or 80s, something like that. And the game works really well across different eras, so should be able to do that pretty well. All right, I think that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.